40. Amos Wekesa seems to have it all. He is a successful businessman, a husband and a father. He has 3 children aged 8, 5 and 1.5. These are the only children he will biologically father.
But it is important to have fewer children that you can be able to look after and be able to give them the best that you can as a parent.
Wekesa had a vasectomy shortly after his 3rd child. He has no regrets. A vasectomy is a surgical procedure for male sterilization and/or permanent birth control. Because it is permanent, it is usually a last resort, but now more and more young men are opting for it.
Normally we see people beyond 50 years, but increasingly today we are seeing people in 40s, and recently I saw one in 30 years wanting to do a vasectomy. He was not interested in children.
I definitely wanted to have 2 children. My wife wanted to have 4, so we agreed on 3. And when my wife finished giving birth to the 3rd, the debate was who was going to be, go through the challenge.
Vasectomy is considered safer than the equivalent operation for a woman, a tubal ligation. While a vasectomy is considered minor surgery, tubal ligation is considered major surgery, requiring the patient to undergo general anesthesia. And so, Wekesa stepped up for his wife.
Well, when they told me the challenges that women go through, especially after they've given birth, if it's done after, it would have been a challenge for her. So I thought, okay, it's good for me to go in, because I have a disciplined mind as a person. So okay, let me go there and chop myself, as I always call it.
Many men always think that it should be a woman's thing to do contraception, but many times today we want the men to do the contraception, because sometimes a woman may be involved in contraception while a man strays out.
For some men, the vasectomy option comes in because they have had as many children as they wanted. For others, it is for economic reasons. Some women, however, are not comfortable with their partners opting for the vasectomy.
They think once a man does vasectomies, he's going to become promiscuous. The fact that he's not going to get children, nobody will even find out that he ever became promiscuous, especially if he does it secretly.
The temptation is that if you have gone through this process, you may think it gives you free will to sleep around with everyone else. But it's very clear that you could also get HIV and spread the HIV again to your loved people, like your wife and so on and so forth.
With decisions that can be as life-altering as this one, the ideal would be for the couple to decide on whether or not a vasectomy suits their needs.
For my case, I was purely out of discussion with my wife.
But that is not always the case.
Unless we find out that the wife and the husband are in agreement, we don't do it, because it also has medical legal issues. You can do it on a man, and yet the woman does not want, and the woman sues you.
And some who come into the clinic do not really know much about it. Some men do not know that there is a difference between castration and a vasectomy, and for some, circumcision is lost in between.
Castration is when the testicles are removed. So one has no testicles to produce sperms and testicles to produce a male hormone. But vasectomy is when the tubes which carry sperms from the testicles to form semen are cut, so that the semen will not contain sperms.
But it is important to make the distinction, because a wrong explanation to a doctor who does not really care to know might lead to a mistake that cannot be rectified.
There are others who come when they tell you that they want castration instead of vasectomy. Sometimes they tell you they want circumcision, and yet what they want is actually a vasectomy. So we have to educate them.
A vasectomy is a permanent method of birth control, but even after having one, there is the very slight chance that a man can make a woman pregnant. A lot of men mistakenly think that once the tubes that deliver the sperms are blocked, they can have unprotected sex. In fact, many viable sperm remain in the system after the operation. It can take up to 12 weeks or longer to eliminate all those sperm.
one can use the issue of 22 ejaculations. The 22 ejaculations completely eliminate the sperms, and in some specialized areas where semen analysis can be done, at least 2 samples of semen analysis or 3 to indicate that there are no sperms have to be done.
Dr. Karhanga says vasectomies are safe and efficient. Some men fear that having a vasectomy will reduce their levels of testosterone and lower their sex drive, but that is a falsehood. It is also not true that one can get prostate cancer because of having a vasectomy. There are those who fear that they could lose their children and might not be able to have others after the procedure.
You can have 100 children and all of them die. You can have 1 child and it stays.
A small percentage of men change their minds later in life for one reason or the other. While advances in science and technology have made it possible to reverse it, the success rate of reversal is still very low. Although a vasectomy can be reversed, it should not be your option unless you really want permanent contraception. Josephine Karunji Musisi, NTV.